So there are some comments that were made that everybody's up in arms of like, oh, shut up, you guys are 4-8. He has a point. And I think he's right. He might sound crazy, but he's right.
The expectation comes with, I know where everybody's Super Bowls.
So we have our three shapes. We have our, okay, that's a win, loss, net neutral. I don't know, maybe it's a win, maybe it's a loss. NDSU, week 1. I'm going to put that as a win. At Nebraska, the game last year was closer than everybody expected, but then in the third quarter, that's when it exploded and it turned into a totally different game. Because Nebraska is notorious for having a lot of hype and then they kind of suck. Like, it's weird. Nebraska's such a weird squad. In Nebraska, I'm a little neutral on this one. I don't actually know if they can beat them. Now, at Colorado State, this is going to be a huge game because last year's, that was one of the most viewed games. Look at this. It went into overtime. Shedeur needed to have that last second drive. Now, here's the thing. And here's how I know it was one of the most viewed games. Look at this. If you go to ESPN's website, ESPN, you go to videos, go to popular. Look at this, dude. It's the number 2. The views on this, the media behind it was off the charts because of how close that game was. I'm saying a loss. Okay? I know I sound crazy, but I just think they're going into their place this time. At home against Baylor, yeah, I can see that being a win. Baylor's kind of fallen off in recent years. At UCF, yes, I can see that being a win. At home against Kansas State, I don't know about that. Kansas State was pretty good last year. May we remind, they went 9-4. They did win their bowl game, so that's nothing to sleep on. This one I'm going to put at a neutral. Neutral. At Arizona, it's a loss, man. Like Arizona last year, what they win? They won out their last 6 games or something, and they were Alamo Bowl champs against Oklahoma. Like, this Arizona squad's going to be pretty dangerous. Okay, at home against Cincinnati, yep. At Texas Tech, yep. Versus Utah, make or break. This is going to be a defining game where this might be a rematch later down the line in in Dallas for the Big 12 championship. But at home against Utah with a healthy Cam Rising, I'm going to take the Utes. The Utes ruled the Pac-12. Last year was a little different because Rising was injured, but they beat Caleb Williams the year before. They beat Oregon the year before that. Don't sleep on the Utes. At Kansas, a little neutral for that. Kansas does have a good quarterback. And then against Oklahoma State, last game of the season, going to have to take the Cowboys, man. 5 sure wins. Their toughest games are on the road at Arizona and at Kansas. And then at Colorado, rivalry. I'm circling this Utah game just because I think this could be the defining factor up to that point in the season where do they make a push to try to get to Dallas to play in the Big 12 championship game? Where if they win that and they just roll on that momentum, sneak one out in Kansas and stay strong at home against Oklahoma State, and on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game win streak after losing to Arizona earlier in the season. I mean, momentum's a key thing. So middle of the pack, little under 500, little over 500 kind of team. Where, I mean, are the comments like, oh, we're everybody's Super Bowl team? I mean, he does have a point. Like, yes, like if we're talking clicks, social media, views on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. I mean, yes, of course, like there is a spotlight surrounding Colorado just because of the name Sanders. Like Deion Sanders is the man. He's primetime. Like there's a reason why the media follows him. And so, yeah, of course, every game's going to be like a Super Bowl in the eyes of the media. Now, on the field, I mean, do I think half of these guys even watch media or listen to the media when they're playing college football? Absolutely not. I guarantee you half the guys in Cincinnati or in Arizona or UCF, they don't care. I doubt they're getting on social media. Like, what's it to them? So, like, through a media lens, yeah, it's a Super Bowl every week because we get to go play Colorado. Colorado has a big buzz. That's the same with the Cowboys. That's the same with the Lakers. It brings media attention. And so he's right on that. Is Arizona staying up late at night going, okay, we got to play a 4-8 squad? No. Are the Utes training extra hard because, oh man, we gotta get ready. We got a tough opponent in Colorado, that 4-8 squad. No, not necessarily, because all that talking is solved on the field with pads. And like for the first 3 weeks there last year, yeah, like they had every right to talk like they started 3-0. But then once they played USC, once they played Oregon, things started to unwind a little bit. Their 4-8 squad that gets a lot of clicks and a lot of likes, which is good for them, because I mean, a lot of these guys are trying to go to the league. Whether it's not even just Colorado, because we all know, Shedeur is going to go to the league, Travis Hunter is going to go to the league. But I mean, the players who are in those primetime games, who play on Kansas State, who play on Arizona, who play on Texas Tech squad, of course they're going to circle it, because it's like, hey, we're going to get a lot of national news media and a lot of media attention that helps their draft stock, for the next upcoming draft in 2025, where, hey, we have a really good, like, for example, like we're looking at the Utah game or the Texas Tech game, where, oh my gosh, there's this defensive end on Texas Tech, or there's this outside linebacker, or there's this inside lineman on Cincinnati's squad, or there's a receiver for UCF, where it's like, hey, they're actually really good. And a lot of scouts in the NFL might not have known until they played Colorado. So it is what it is. I don't hate on Colorado for it. So, but that's my prediction on their schedule and their record. They go 6-6 or 5-7, better than last year, but not to the full potential of an undefeated 12-0, 10-win team. Now, if they do, I mean, hell yeah, that's pretty impressive. But I mean, they got some big teams that they got to play. They got some really big teams that they got to play. I'd worry about the Arizona game. I'd worry about the Utah game. And I'd worry about the state rival game with Colorado State. Those are the big games, because they're not running into an Oregon this year, or USC, or Washington, or Washington State, or Oregon State. Like, there were a lot of really good teams last year in the Pac-12. Like, the Pac-12 was loaded. But it's a new year, new season. So we'll just see. Okay, catch you in the next one.